The expectation was initially that it could have been a Clid based on the bans, but now SKT, do they want to go for a hard carry split push top laner? They could lock in the Fiora for themselves if they wanted to.
Ooh, instead.
Just AP damage.
Oh, I'm quite a fan of this as well.
They need
Great
magic
team
damage.
fighting. Like, you have Vlad, you have Qiayana, you have Nautilus, Varus, like, you have the early game transition with the Elise as well. The only other thing they could do is flex the Vladimir into mid lane, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Maybe it's just the stakes of these series, but I'm just fascinated by these drafts. It's champions we've seen before, but the order in which they're getting picked and how much time G2 and SKT are taking to plot out every single move here. The fact that G2 didn't want this game to be about their ability to play Qiayana, but instead was actually, no, you take the Qiayana because we are putting a higher priority on getting Gragas Yasuo for ourselves. They again bring back the flex picks. They have that PerkZ Mickey Yasuo Gragas lane. I just can't wait for this.
And this is going to be an explosive early game because the pairing of Elise Qiayana is simple, straightforward, point and click gank setup. But Syndra should have priority in the mid lane. The Olaf, what can Jankos do to stop Clid from getting anything done? And what does Mata look like in match point for G2? Can he show up when it matters most?
Well, I think Mata will be one of the most important aspects in this early game. Remember that every game G2 have played against a Yasuo or Gragas, they've tried to set up a dive. You could not ask for a better dive comp than what you are getting from the side of SKT. The Elise, the potential Vlad TP, I'd be surprised if they used it early, but with a Qiayana with her CC setup as well, SKT should be looking to attack that bot lane early.
The biggest question will be whether or not Faker can get out of lane.
Yes.
Because the Syndra early should have the range advantage and the push advantage on the Qiayana.
And if push comes to shove, is Faker willing to sacrifice his own lane, willing to give up CS to make a play that's outside of the textbook, to go do something crazy? Can SKT find that clutch engage that we've seen from Qiayana's at so many different moments? The Varus, the Qiayana, the Vladimir together can delete a team in an instant. But it all comes down then to setup.
Yeah, we're in it. This is match point for G2. This is either G2 crushing through two Korean powerhouses on their way to meet FPX in the final, or it's Mata coming back after Effort, his replacement, has a bad game and rescuing SKT's season. I can't wait.
And when you look at it, it is the best player of all time on the most accomplished organization in League of Legends history, toe-to-toe with the best team that Europe has ever produced and may ever produce. This is a first, the first truly successful European super team.
And yes, a European team was in finals last year, but the expectations set before G2 were so much higher this year. For them to show up in this way, be 2-1 up on SKT, ready to take that spot in the final, is incredible.
This is it, boys.
Do. And a bit of a delay, of course, getting into game.
Oh, you two are so inspirational.
Right,
I
we were
was
just-
I was captivated by you.
Do we want to? As long as we got a little. Oh, well, hold on. Looks
Yeah,
like we
just
made
a
it
long
in.
loading screen for some reason.
There you go.
All right, back into the
Even the
dramatic talk.
even the client was like, oh, this guy's
It's like, I need a breather.
I need to take a break there.
But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be jumping onto Summoner's Rift for Game 4. SKT are nowhere near down and out. Jack, we talked at length about how SKT should have won that last game. Execution in the final team fight alone could have swung the game back in SKT's favor, and you should not count them out just because they did not win.
And the operative word there is should. And it's a word that as a fan and as an analyst, I constantly struggle with.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, the team that won is the team that should have won. If you base it down to its most basic level, there are mistakes that SKT made, but their team play fell apart.
You're right.
Down the stretch in that game.
And I mean, individuals made a number of mistakes. Teddy's ultimate in the fights, we talked at length about effort, and even Faker, his positioning on the map.
Yeah, because I don't disagree with you. There were so many things that SKT should have done to win that game, but since they didn't do them, that's why we're here. That's why SKT is facing elimination against the LEC powerhouse in G2.
As we see G2 potentially group for a late invade, one stat that further kind of colors this series. So the sweeper coming out from Mickey. We'll hold that thought. Could see a level 1 fight. SKT willing to match it, of course, is Hail of Blades Yasuo, much stronger at level 1 than, say, the Conqueror.
So this is very important because G2, let's not forget, when they first played against the Yasuo bot lane in Game 2, they tried to make this invade happen. The mistake they made was disrespecting SKT's early vision. They got caught, they got collapsed, it hurt their whole game plan. Now, the thing about Olaf is he is incredibly fast, clearing through the jungle. I'm curious as to how Clid answers. I like what he's doing. He should be looking to split the map himself, and he's going straight towards the blue buff. But this gives the Yasuo bot lane a lot of freedom, so that he does not have to run the risk of getting ganked in the early game.
And it's great. You can vertical your Yasuo Gragas so they can play as aggressively as possible. It's the reverse of having to eat a 15 or 20 CS advantage early. They can actually push in fairly freely and trade aggressively.
And that's what you're seeing now. PerkZ not going to be a part of the trades, but Mickey feeling pretty comfortable so far. Teddy always has to respect the potential for a tornado. We'll manage to connect there.
Look at the state of the wave right now. With the health difference, oh, they're actually going in.
Teddy has to flash out to safety instantly. Halo Blade's doing so much work. Mickey now stepping forward. The Ignite goes down. PerkZ, the heal isn't enough. Jankos coming over the wall. The Axe, first blood for G2.
And the G2 bottom lane show SKT how it is done. They know where the enemy jungler is. They have all the information in the world. They burn all of the summoner spells from Teddy, and PerkZ shuts down Teddy.
Massive start for G2. They attack Mata in his first game of the semifinals this Worlds. They know exactly where to go. They know exactly how to do it, and they get it done.
Look at top lane though. Clid is in the top side of the map. Wunder is overextended.
But it's a level 3 Vladimir. It's fine. He can just be up there.
I mean, you're right.
And additionally, it doesn't get any easier because Wunder can just opt for the Abyssal Mask early on. They're both magic damage. But as we look back at this one, you can see Hail of Blades allowing PerkZ to get out multiple Qs so rapidly. Goes back, tornado confirmed, easy to land. The heal buys him time, but Flash Axe.
I don't think G2 actually expected to get a kill there. I think they wanted to force an all-in just to get a bunch of summoner spells and set it for a dive a little bit later on. But the moment Mickey saw the window where Mata actually engaged onto PerkZ, he could jump on top of Teddy and actually burst him out, giving G2 the ability to find that first blood.
And something I want to put on both your guys' minds is, one, when G2 have won Game 1 in a series, it has never gone to Game 5. They've always won in 4 or less. It's a lot of 3-0s, a lot of confident wins.
Okay.
Additionally, what we've seen from G2 very often in the final games of their series is that they download their opponent and they obliterate them. Now, this is one kill, but the question I want you to keep in mind as we get further, if G2 start to pull further and further ahead, is this something that we can just say is G2's specialty, is blowing people out in these final games?
I think that's going to be a question. We've also not seen a Game 5. In the whole knockout stage, Game 4 has ended up being the decider, and G2 also seems to be this team that is impervious to SKT's aura that they used to hold in these best-of-5 series. G2 were the ones to hand SKT SKT's only best-of-5 defeat all year. That was at the MSI semifinal, and here they look to do it again.
Oh,
great win wall.
The reaction speed from PerkZ. That was an Umayan play if I've ever seen one, as he's able to mitigate the gank coming down from SKT. They're forced to back off, and you can see how the wave is just in an awkward spot for Teddy.
And Wunder doing what he can on the top side. Still trading back well with Khan. Khan can obviously provide a decent amount of wave pressure, but not a whole lot of kill threat up against the Ornn, who just rushed the Negatron.
And the 5-minute Ocean. It couldn't get any better for G2 right here, as Jankos is ready to do that with the bot priority. And the full river control.
2 waves up on a Yasuo Gragas lane against an enemy AD carry. The TP is going to come through from Syndra.
They want a match.
That's going to be big. Jankos is just going to get one shot. Perfect punish for Clid. Caps now moving in on the... Faker moving in on the Caps, rather. Khan TP's down. This is a big turn for SKT. They will not just be run over. They will match G2 for the Drake, and they will take the Ocean for themselves.
Excellent punish coming out from Clid. He knows what Jankos is up to. He's seen these Olaf plays before, and he recognizes, wait a minute, PerkZ and Mickey actually haven't left the lane yet. Syndra is back in base. We get to move first, so they do. The only problem for SKT is Khan TP'd into that play. He got nothing for it. Meanwhile, the Ornn set up a bit of a freeze in the top lane, and he's just going to get all this free farm, while Khan is left to get nothing.
That's still the type of play that we've seen time and time again in this series, where just as we're starting to have the discussion about this early game advantage potentially leading to a snowball, we see the counter. Clid, with exactly the right timing, as Vedius mentioned, punishing it. And I think as far as a Vladimir using a teleport into the Ornn matchup, Ornn's not the type to punish that. So just an amazing thing for SKT just happened.
And I think it's important to remember, while this bot lane play has gone great for G2, I'm looking at how the rest of the game plays out. And of course, you're looking at an Ornn ultimate into a Yasuo ultimate, and you're like, okay, G2's team fighting comp is pretty solid. Yep. But Vladimir Qiayana is no slouch either. If you fight around Baron, or if you fight in the right place, there is a very easy opportunity for you to be able to win out on these team fights. The big thing you have to play around is the win wall, because the win wall can interrupt things like the Qiayana ultimate, can mitigate a lot of the damage that comes out from the side of SKT, and these late game fights will be very execution reliant.
You see PerkZ pulling back, and I think the thing that G2 are going to have to respect is Faker on this Qiayana. He has the Moby boots. This champion moves across the map like wind. She is so incredibly fast. They have to see what Faker gets done. For now, he's locked into mid lane by caps by the constant pushing threat of this Syndra. But if he gets out, if we see those clutch Qiayana ultimates that have been there all across the tournament, the reason this champion is banned so much, SKT have an easy route back into the game.
Where can he move with those Moby boots will be the big question.
Mykix.
As that's the second time Mykix just kind of very narrowly avoided death with a well-timed body slam.
I like that SKT is sending their jungler bot to provide cover for Teddy and Mata so they can push out this wave. I think that they might be looking for a reset now that their summoner spells are back up.
Clid can step forward here, but Teddy and Mata really aren't in range. Just a bit of poke down onto Mykix.
Oh, they're actually threatening a dive. I like this a lot more. We talked about how strong this dive comp actually is. No TP on Khan, but no TP on Wunder either. So SKT just going to take some plates for now.
Faker got spotted both times on that control ward, which is a big boon for G2 to be able to step back up. They don't have deep enough vision into the G2 jungle. I love that control ward right next to G2's red buff.
And now with PerkZ at level 6, the power dynamic might shift a little bit here on the bottom lane. Teddy and Mata have the safety of range with a few more levels under their belt, but the Yasuo ult, the threat and the follow-up as Mykix gets closer to 6 as well, means they're going to have to make sure not to get caught out by the exhaust Yasuo. And once again, a very tense game. It felt like G2 were pulling ahead. A beautiful response from Clid on that dragon. And now we are into an even game state. A few plates even going in the favor of Teddy to make sure that he can sit more comfortably in this lane.
Remember that G2, their comp is not about snowballing early. Yasuo is very item reliant. Ooh, good flash from Teddy.
Comes out. Windwall to stop any follow-up. Mata now has to retreat, but Spider knots his way back to the tower.
And that Jankos just recognizing the wave is pushing bot. He can come in for a play. With the knock-up onto Teddy, they might have been able to find a kill, but as we mentioned, good flash from him. Now Jankos going to face check, or not.
Wow. Good
use of the axes there.
And a level 6 Olaf is relatively scary to jump on if you don't get the clean one-shot, since he can just void the CC and then return fire.
Looks like G2 is just setting up for the Drake for now. They've kind of left top lane on an island. Both TP... Oh, wow. So Wunder had Ignite, and I thought that he may overcommit. He may actually go for an all-in there, but decided against it. He does, of course, have the ultimate, and look at the roam from Faker. He has his eyes set on top. Wunder going for the all-in.
He thinks he has the all-in. He needs to go in on Khan. If he's going to kill him, he needs to kill him now. Khan flashes back to safety. Faker not going to connect on the ultimate. That's massive. Still, though, the Ignite's ticking down. Wunder will drop, but that could have been everything.
Actually, a bit of a misplay by Faker there, which is odd to say. You should always start that gank with an EQ because it'll auto-acquire the Water Blade. So Faker shouldn't have a chance to miss the ultimate, but still gets the kill with the Ignite, and that's a big play, being able to find a roam.
A lot of trading in terms of summoner spells up towards the top lane, and ultimately Khan does get away with this one. You could see, with the Ignite available on Wunder and knowing that the pool has a very long cooldown, he wants to try and force this play. Wunder recognizes that even if he flashes after Khan, he's probably not going to be able to chase him down. So he tries to get away from Faker, but he's not able to do it. And as you mentioned, Jat, while there was a slight mis-execution from the side of Faker, he still ultimately gets what he wants.
And Teddy, ultimate could come out. Mata continuing to step forward. G2 have to feel like they might have sniffed this one out, though, with how forward Mata and Teddy are playing.
Even with sniffing it out, though, SKT need to be able to get this wave into the turret if they don't want to get denied, because I think they'd still lose a 3v3. They definitely lose a 4v3, so Really good timing on G2's roam here.
We don't have vision. Is Elise
Yep,
still in the
there it
brush? That's going to be the ulti now coming out. The wind wall can't immediately follow. The PerkZ might just get bodied down. The ultimate coming up the Varus is huge. Teddy is not going down quite yet, but they're going to be able to grab the kill on the back of the Olaf. Khan in the midst of the entire team will just be forced to retreat. Faker now coming down. The Qiayana's now coming in. G2 are now locked down under the tower. Where's the Qiayana going to go? Dashing in. That's going to be one. Invisible with the grass blade. Can pick up another one to go through. Faker cleaning up this fight as Khan runs forward. Tides of blood will not be necessary. Captain Wunder forced to back off.
Excellent answer from SKT. Clid does not crack under the pressure and just lies in wait. The moment that Teddy gets ultimate, that is when SKT strike. With a big teamfight win, they can convert this into a Drake and claim control over the gold lead.
And Mata as well, still deathless despite the relentless assaults of G2 on this bottom lane. While SKT wasn't there at the start of the fight, they were definitely there at the end of it. And the 2-0-1 Qiayana. How many times have we seen a few early kills on a Qiayana just end a game? We'll have to see what Faker can do with this lead.
2K gold in his back pocket can complete his first lethality item as we look back at this replay.
And here we see again, Clid, recognizing all these people who are coming, just waits. He turns his attention immediately to PerkZ, but the damage is already done. He's CC'd, he's locked up, and while that was a great flash knockup from Mickey, G2 is doing everything in their power to try and turn this in their favor, but the TP comes in from Khan. The roam comes down from Qiayana. And this overcommitment here is ultimately what costs G2, because you can see Jankos gets dragged into the tower, Khan mitigates all of the damage, and that buys enough time for Faker to then arrive.
Beautiful grass blade after dashing in as well to make it so fire couldn't be returned. But during the replay, we saw Jankos get the Rift Herald, keeping the tempo up as fast as possible.
And Faker, not a lot of resistances to his name. Has to respect the potential for him to just get bursted by Caps, especially as now he'll back off and should be able to complete the loot in shortly. Wunder and Khan have taken up home on the bottom side of the map as the Yasuo Gragas will match top side for SKT. And in this game, SKT actually pulling ahead. Only about 600 in their favor, but the double ocean as well is going to make a lot of their lives much easier if we stay in standard lanes.
And it also doesn't seem to matter who G2 is playing against. They will have more gold from minions than the other team. It was their best stat leading into the quarterfinals, and I think it is their best stat now. In terms of the ability for people to leave some of their lanes to create a larger denial somewhere else. In this particular game, it was the roam's bottom and the vertical jungling that gave them most of their CS advantage, but across the board, Ornn, Syndra, and Yasuo all up on CS against SKT.
That's good. That's something that's going to buy them more as they get later into the game. PerkZ, though, has to respect, has to be careful. He can win wall a lot, but he can't win wall everything.
The player I'm looking at in this game a lot is Khan. I think that in the laning phase, yes, that could have been a bad trade, but of course Faker with a good roam up. And he is yet to die. Sure, he doesn't have a CS advantage against the Ornn, but this man actually sits on a 1,000 gold lead right now. The Kleptomancy has done him a lot of favors. He was involved in the plays down in the bot lane, contributing to a lot of SKT's early kills. And when we think about the team fight power of SKT, all of it is going to come from this Vladimir. He has so much damage later on into the game. He is the insurance, the follow-up from the crowd control that Faker's ultimate can provide. He is the man that will be able to win out on many of these 1v1s later into the game. So Khan, a player that we've talked about a lot this series, will be very important if SKT want to win.
Caps are trying to pull back, but the lock is guaranteed. That means the follow-up is there, and down goes Caps. Clean kill pickup from the side of SKT.
It's a lot of crowd control that they're bringing. One thing that we didn't get to talk about was the fact that Caps didn't bring Cleanse in this matchup, so anytime they start with that type of CC chain, unless the rest of G2 was there to fight, Caps would die, and that's exactly what we see SK do there. Mata just, I think, Hex flashes in range for his ultimate, and the follow-up was pretty easy for SKT.
Certainly was.
Ulti comes out, call the Forge God. Who's it going to find? PerkZ. Not going to opt to follow up there. Just trying to bully out, just trying to threaten SKT. They got priority over the midway. What are they going to do with it? For now, moving up to top side, clearing out a little bit of this SKT vision, but G2 do not want to stay too long for a play here. They've fallen too far behind to overcommit for anything.
Well, it's still not the end of the world for G2. The scaling on their side is still very solid.
Also the fact that they're, one game away from the finals. I feel like that would mean it's not the end of the world.
That's also true.
Just in the context of the game. Context of the series, fine.
But it's still early on. Chat, we're 15 minutes in. This is probably the most convincing early game advantage I think we've seen one team have at 15 minutes.
Yep.
And and a lot of it has come off of punish play from the side of SKT. Now, the gold gap, of course, is still only 1K, but as we mentioned, it's important to recognize where the gold is, and a lot of it does sit on Khan. But for G2, a lot of their gold sits on top of PerkZ. A player who came up clutch in the last game, a player who did not die, who has earned the title of Qiayana, which is now a thing. And
you want to explain it?
So, to give a small bit of context, as long as Faker doesn't try to all in here, PerkZ randomly needed a name for his ult.
Hold that thought.
You're good.
PerkZ randomly needed a name for his ult. He randomly found Qiayana, thought it was cool, and it stuck. And then he climbed up solo queue so quickly, he started making these jokes about how Qiayana is coming to revolutionize AD carry, and it stuck with the fans. That's why when people say PerkZ deactivated, Qiayana activated, they're talking about the version of PerkZ which just seems unstoppable.
LEC memes for dummies with Vedius. The game starts at level 1, Vedius. That's the important.
That is
no
the
more
key.
Farming and waiting for late in the world
Yes.
of Qiayana.
Yeah, and what we're seeing again, actually, is just SKT making a move for Ocean Drake and what looks to be G2 just trying to get lane pressure as much as possible. So this prioritization of CS and experience rather than a 17-minute Ocean Drake, which honestly isn't that beneficial for G2 one way or the other. It's really about how they've stayed in most of these games is through just good CS in the side. There's Faker.
Locked up, stunned down. That's a Qiayana. That's what she does. Ignite is forced out. That's a little bit of a boom, but it costs the flash and the exhaust of PerkZ to get it.
So we've been talking a lot about PerkZ, but Faker is the player we need to bring everyone's attention back to, because as chat mentioned earlier on, this was a 2-0 Qiayana that when you get those early items, you can be very potent. And
that's going to be big damage. They don't have a wind wall to stop it. Easy pick-off for the side of SKT.
And we're just seeing clean execution from SKT. The coordination that we didn't seem to see last game is now coming through, and this change from Wunder may have been everything that they needed.
The flash hook almost connects so incredibly close. And to further quote Jat from earlier, as long as we're taking turns doing Jat quotes, Qiayana's OP when she's playing well, and Qiayana is being played damn well by Faker. Surprise, surprise.
And he's now roaming all over the map. He doesn't need to have a high amount of CS if he's getting gold from killing the opponents. And I do want to spend a moment to credit Mata. This is such an unlikely substitution. When he got subbed in Game 3 of the Splice series, the consensus between most of us was, oh, that's just the skin game. Like, in case they're just going to give him one because they're not worried about losing this series in case they actually make it all the way to the World Finals. What this is effort looked really bad in Game 3, and SKT needed a lifeline. And so far, even though it is other members of SKT, we don't know what goes on in the comms. Mata is the second most experienced player on this SKT lineup to Faker. So it is a huge presence that he brings to the game that I think SKT is benefiting from in this Game 4.
And if he wins here, this would be his 50th international win for Mata. Historic player.
It's a lot of wins.
Yeah. Single-handedly redefined the vision game. Now might single-handedly redefine SKT's chances in this series. As G2 now move in. Mickey off to the side, trying to find the barrel. Forcing out the repel from Clid, but PerkZ is there as well. Now Wunder's in the pinch. Caps is just getting cut down. The wind wall is not going to mean a thing. Tries to buy a bit more time. Here comes Faker on the backside, but he's caught up by the Olaf. Mickey now coming in. Faker trying to go in and finish it off, but the stopwatches are there. But no, SKT still able to find this fight. The knockup coming through. Jankos runs for the hills, but it is not enough. Still, it's a back and forth fight. It's such a close fight. Caps manages to sidestep. Clid goes in, but the body step comes out. Another stopwatch. Are you kidding me? The knockup is there. The shutdown is there. A bloody fight in the mid lane.
G2's ability to out-team fight SKT has been persistent throughout this series. There's probably about 15 really small interactions that happened in that fight that could have decided it, and G2 just had more of them.
That team fight was just a highlight reel condensed into 10 seconds. So many cool things happened that a single replay is not going to do it justice, but let's see what we can do. Mickey and PerkZ start off by coming in from the flank, and an immediate response from Clid avoids the initial engage.
I think the biggest thing, though, was Jankos v Faker. Faker couldn't find access to the flank, which would have just destroyed G2 against the wall with the Qiayana ultimate. In fact, he basically wins the 1v1 against Faker down bottom.
But look at the ultimate that came out from Ornn on the top side. He completely cut Teddy and Clid off from the fight, meaning that this was actually a 4 versus 3 for the vast majority of the game. Clid then tries to dive on top of Caps, and it wasn't enough because Caps immediately flashes out, sidestepping the Q. Mickey nearly dies. The stopwatch just before he falls. Oh my word, what a team fight.
Yeah, that's a 10.
Yeah, oh,
okay.
Amada dies. Yeah, you cursed him.
Yeah, Gragas ultimate into death.
Wait, could this be Baron now?
They're very
think
strong.
about it.
You talked about this earlier, Veddies, but the win wall from Yasuo is massive at taking the Baron, mitigates so much of the threat, so much of the damage. Might still want that cooldown in the fights to come, but oh, here comes the Ornn horn. They're caught in the pinch. Mykix can go forward. Faker invisible, wants to pull another grass blade, but this is massive. The Vladimir trying to strike back, but Faker's ult is not going to be effective. Khan now has to run for his life. PerkZ and Caps are still alive. G2 get 2-3 for nothing.
Faker missed his Qiayana ultimate in the jungle. So Khan is the one who's able to pick up a fight, but G2 get another advantage.
And you can hear the crowd rallying behind G2. Yes, the early game was a little bit shaky. They found some advantages, they conceded some. But this team is momentum-based. When they hear the roar of it, you can just see them performing at their absolute peak. And chat, you said it. They are consistently out team fighting SKT. When I saw them in that jungle, I thought, oh, Faker's just gonna kill them all.
What? Mickey?
It didn't come through. Mickey sidesteps, and now we reset once again. The gold is even once again.
Probably a blessing in disguise that didn't land for Mata, because Teddy and Mata were outnumbered if they would have gone into that jungle fight. But now, Faker back trying to push up mid-wave and SKT group around this Mountain Drake.
Do G2 have enough active members on the map to contest this Drake? I don't think it's the case. Mata waiting in the darkness. Jankos knows better than to step in.
SKT still have no control over Baron. So it's going to be really difficult for them to face check their way into this.
But this is where Qiayana and Vladimir are at their most powerful. If they sniff out the G2 Baron and go into contest, it could be a one-shot kind of team fight. One shotgun shot to delete all of G2. But if they mess up, if they miss-execute, the Ornn will tear through this team.
Yeah. Beautiful pool.
Good pull.
Keep in mind, Windwall can also block Qiayana ultimate, so Faker has to watch out for that.
Yeah, it can.
Flash in, just trying to get the knockup, forcing the flash away from Mata. G2 just playing for cooldowns at this point, but it's Faker on the flank. They're all grouped near that wall. He might sniff out this juicy Qiayana ultimate. Eyes on Faker in the backside. Faker being zoned away once again by Jankos, and the rest of the fight is breaking out. Faker is doing nothing. PerkZ is getting another kill. They're dashing through the shutdown. He's trying to find the kill, but he can't get it back. And this is disastrous. Jankos took Faker out of the fight, but still, SKT win the 4v4. Wunder has to now run for his life. The grass blade zoning Mykix away. Wunder will get taken down. This should be the Baron for the side of SKT. Wunder trying to buy as much time as he can, but it is not enough. That is the shutdown. SKT Baron in their sights.
And SKT successfully out teamfight G2. The execution was not on point this time. They have 4 members alive. Mata is about to respawn. Can they steal this away, or will they concede it?
I mean, there is an ultimate for Jankos if we wanted to try.
G2 have yet to get a Baron this entire series. Is this the one that will turn it? Is this their Baron to get? Jankos with ultimate available, won't get a chance. Deleted. Jankos next on the list. Caps TPing into his own death. SKT though, pulling back, giving him that respect. Clid now stepping forward. Wow. Caps manages to find the knockback. Wants to finish off at least 1 kill. Will get the ultimate down to do so. The heal is not enough. But here comes Faker. Goes golden, but just gets to watch his own death in slow motion. Khan on a rampage.
And now it's G2 crumbling. They didn't even try to steal the Baron. They just let themselves get killed by Khan as the rest of SKT secure that objective. But let's look back at this initial fight.
All right, I was locked on Faker down bottom, and he got zoned out by Olaf. So we're not focusing on that. We're going to focus on the Vladimir. Getting all of the damage onto Caps. I don't think Caps' stopwatch was back yet from the previous fight, and then the turret shot is what actually follows PerkZ throughout the rest of the fight.
But also, Wunder did not use his ultimate onto Teddy. He used it onto the Nautilus. They overcommitted onto killing Mata, and that is not the target that you can afford to try and shut down.
And just, if we look at the game state moments ago, it was this is even, this is dead, even, but now it's a 4K advantage to the side of SKT. They've got the Baron to back them up as well. PerkZ moving in on the top side, another TP coming in. They're looking for a pick. Jankos is here too. Faker now retreating. Wunder stepping forward. This is a very fast Qiayana. Caps on the way in. Faker should certainly go down here, but he's incredibly fast. The flash out, not enough. Caps sees it coming, uses the ult and takes him out.
Again, Faker not in sync with the rest of SKT. This is the 4th game. SKT have had a Baron, a potential Baron power play, and then been unable to get their setup.
Uncharacteristic performance from Faker. Jack, you and I both expected extremely large things with the return of Faker to the World Championship. We both put him as #1 in our top 20. We both expected him to perform, and this series against one of the best teams in the world, he has made mistakes. Yes, he's had some fantastic plays.
That's a big miss.
But is the rest of SKT looking to fight?
Think he potentially in trouble here?
I mean,
Cap's coming in on the flank if he wants.
Khan is bottom.
Yeah.
PerkZ is split pushing. This is the type of thing that G2 has been perplexing SKT with. They're pressuring lanes that SKT doesn't expect them to pressure, so it's pushing them into odd decisions. This time, it looks like they've made a pretty good call to just continue pushing bottom lane, and now Khan resets, buys a pot. He's looking to try and find a massive team
He has
fight.
a death cap. He has a void staff. Khan is incredibly powerful. Not level 16 quite yet, but otherwise everything going in his favor. All the AP he could ever want on this Vladimir. SKT have the tools to win the fight. They just need to find one in their favor. For now, the name of the game is the Siege. Can G2 hold on? Only reliable way to clear is the Syndra. PerkZ can try to use the wind wall to buy a bit more time for mid lane tower.
Ornn is just back up now. Had been on cooldown.
Khan is using the double cannon minions bot lane to siege onto that tower. The brace is slowly being broken.
How about a third?
Jankos. Yeah, that was a pretty quick chunk. Khan still with the Crimson Rush up. They're going to force out the pool. Oh, the timing off. That's going to be disaster.
That's going to be another inhibitor tower going down.
Hook lands onto Wunder. Ulti's now going to come out. Khan still on the side. Khan still with ultimate up and available. Can't make his way into the back of this fight. Still, Mata goes forward. G2 is going to find one kill for now. The knockup not quite there. PerkZ going in the midst of the team. Desperately wants to kill Teddy, but it's not going to be enough. He's trying to dash through, but they're burning him down. In the meantime, the fight is going back and forth. Teddy! He's trying. This is his moment. He wants to get the kill. Can he get it done? Teddy! He buys more time, but he cannot secure the win. Axe goes in. Jankos on the chase. When the combo's back up for Clid, he could look to turn and burn, but such a close exchange once again.
But G2 still win the fight. PerkZ is struggling to have an impact in this game, but Caps and Jankos are doing such a great job. This team fight ultimately becomes around whether or not they can shut Khan down, and initially, after missing that engage, it felt like that this could have been disaster for G2, but then the re-engage comes through.
Exactly, a very odd start with Mata dying, only getting an unfollowed up knockup on Caps, and really, it's on Khan here. Mickey zones him as best he can, Faker gets an execute, and then here you're thinking, all right, can he absolutely get it done? And the stun timing by the rest of G2 just kind of shut him down. This is, it can't keep happening, you think, that SKT have a large gold lead, have a Drake advantage, have Baron, and get beaten to the setup by G2.
Caps was so good in that fight. The way in which his Q-E electrocute combo pretty much one-shot Faker. That Qiayana got obliterated, and because Khan used his pull early to avoid the stun, that then allowed Caps to use his ultimate onto the Vladimir. So these fights are so intense. We talked about how they're so execution-based.
And what is going through the heads of SKT right now? Because they felt like they were in control of Game 3. They were in control of this Game 4. And if they lose this one, their year is over. Faker would fail to make his first final at a World Championship. They can't tilt against this G2 team who just looks completely untiltable. They have been so good at playing from the back foot. SKT will have an advantage, and immediately, rather than G2 waiting for something bad to happen, they make something good happen for themselves.
Those years of EUS solo queue coming into fruition against the powerhouse that is SKT. The Baron will be spawning in 30 seconds. This could be the fight, the objective, the place that determines the outcome of this series.
The upgraded Zhonya is now coming in for Caps. One more level for Wunder, and he will be able to upgrade PerkZ as well, given the Molten Edge.
On his own.
Mata isolated. Mata caught out. Windwall comes in to stop any fallout. Mata knocked back into the wall, but here comes a massive Ornn follow-up. The support is dead, but now they can turn the fight. It's Khan on the flank. G2 need to get out of the pinch immediately, or they will go down. Mata's still alive. Mata is living through everything G2 have.
But SKT used the Varus and the Nautilus ultimate there, so it was just a 2-for-2 trade with the reset. The Baron setup continues.
The cooldown on Wunder's ultimate is at 45 seconds. That's going to be more than enough time for Mata to go back to base, reset, back out onto the map. He'll also be restocked on all of that vision. And the pings are coming down from Mata right now. He's saying, Ornn's ult is down, Ornn ult is down. Let's look for a fight because this is the best shot that we've got.
Caps at 50% mana should be fine for the fight to come, but Faker running forward. This is the movement speed of that Qiayana. Can run fearlessly into the front line. Has to respect Caps, though. A single stun could result in the death.
Ornn upgrades also making G2 more powerful. 3,000 gold of value given just by Ornn being level 16.
PerkZ. Windwall comes out, but it's not going to stop the ultimate from going in. PerkZ has to flash out to safety. Mana hits the wall, not quite what he wants, but Khan steps forward. That's the ulti down. That's the ulti down. Now G2 can look to turn the fight. Khan, huge healing coming back. On the back end of that ultimate, Faker now steps forward. Faker now gets taken out. Faker, no! Faker is dead! What was that? Now the rest of the team stepping forward. G2 looking to close this fight out. PerkZ throwing the Windwall over. Tornado comes in, Windwall to block. Clid now taken down. This should be G2's first Baron of the series if they can find it. Clid deleted. Caps unstoppable. G2 on the cusp of making it to finals.
Faker dies in what was the most important team fight of this series. The Baron is in the eyes of G2. The smite is not available. G2 eSports come back once again. They will secure their first Baron of the series, and SKT is now on the back foot.
Comeback after comeback for G2, and again, Faker can't find what he needs. He flashes for it. The root, the roof gets blocked. Yes, it's stunned, but the burst is decreased.
Yes.
And the Hysterics also keep him alive. But then, on the backside, Khan was ready to follow up with a full engage. Now that they're down both ultimates, SKT have to run away, and G2, they got the Ornn Horde. They're ready to go back for it. Faker is trapped. He's down flash. He tries to go invisible, but he can't get out.
Faker had no escape options. His flash was down. He wanted to re-engage, but his team was not there. And you could see the frustration. His hands are shaking. He realizes the consequences of his actions. And now it is G2 with the Baron buff. There is still a lot of SKT's base that they have to go through. By no means does this mean that the game is won. All it means is that the game goes back to even.
But it can be won with one good team fight. G2 have been the ones preventing SKT from converting their Baron power plays. Now they can convert their own. They have the Ornn, they have the Gragas, they have so many initiation tools. And SKT have just been out of sorts. They're throwing ultimates left, sideways, unable to connect on this beautiful team of G2, as now G2 try and make it to the finals.
Pressure mounting, PerkZ bringing in the minions in the mid lane. Faker waiting in the darkness, hoping to get something done. Yomu's popped. We'll be able to back away though. Using the Edge of Night as well, not ideal. Would have liked to have that in a fight with Caps in the future, but just hoping, desperately hoping to get that pick onto PerkZ. The cusp of elimination for SKT. FPX, G2, SKT, those were the favorites. One of them will go home today. PerkZ pushes in, he breaks the tier 2. This could be the final fight. Khan zooming in, he has the home guards, he's ready to go at a moment's notice. For now, just trying to clear the waves.
And SKT doesn't even have flank wards. They kind of just have to sit here and absorb G2 and hope they don't get engaged on, because a straightforward initiation doesn't work into Ornn and a Yasuo Windwall.
The pull just gets used from Khan. He's back to base. This is going to mean that the bot tower is exposed. G2 are going to be able to break into the base. Bear in mind, they have 2 exposed inhibitors themselves. If SKT find a big fight, they're looking for PerkZ.
Faker fishing for the flank. Windwall comes through. PerkZ still alive, right in the midst of the Windwall. Just needs to back up a little bit, trying to dash through. That's the knockup. He could get the reset, but no. Mistiming, misexecution from G2 costs him his life. That's the shutdown. Now they have to retreat. Now Khan can hunt, can look for that fight, but instead SKT will just call a stop to the action.
So PerkZ gives up his life, but it does mean that G2 can secure the bot in him. The question is, with 5 members alive for SKT and with a 40-second death timer on PerkZ, can SKT convert this into inhibitors of their own?
Can they convert it into an end? Their team fight is incredibly strong.
Look at this as well. They're doing the Mountain to open up the Elder Drake as a potential win condition. We've seen G2 win every single one of these fights, which means that if they can force a fight around this Elder, this time they should be able to win.
G2 can now step forward, but it's Faker once again waiting in the darkness. Grass Blade, not the Water Blade, but out comes the Ornn Horn. Caps fishing for 1 or 2 picks. They might not want to take the fight, but they do. They're still going to go in 4v5, trying to peel away. Faker waiting, trying to find an opportunity to go over the wall. The Varus ult is not going to connect. It hits, but it will not secure any follow-up.
Keep an eye on the Caps. Ooh, he messes up the execution.
Baits it out though. Clid had to go up into the air, and it doesn't matter if he messed it up because Clid is still going to go down. But Khan right to the backside. Caps goes golden. There's no one else to follow up. Khan's damage doesn't matter. But the ulti comes out in such a close exchange. For now, they're winning, but PerkZ is coming in. This is his hero moment. If he wants to turn this fight in favor of team, this could be the game.
He gets the
defining moment. Faker is gone. Teddy's next on the list. There's no way he can duel the Yasuo. Amada's coming in, but he's just walking into the meat grinder of PerkZ. Khan, can he do it? It's not enough. They've done it. G2. Khan, can he get it done? He can't. The Vladimir. They can't do it. This is it. The greatest team in the history of League of Legends, taken down by the greatest
greatest team Europe has ever produced. FPX, get ready. G2 is heading to Paris.